Folks, welcome into sportsbookreview.com. This is your NFL opening line show for week 3 in the NFL. An interesting weekend overall. Already looking at lines. I love this show, Kyle. It's going to be fun to take a fresh and innovative look at some week 3 action here. I'm your host, Donnie Seymour. He's Kyle Purviance. Let's get after it for NFL week 3.
I'm looking forward to it. And this week's feeling a little tougher. And usually you get to week 3. Now you start to have some information about the teams, but then, we just got pounded by injuries over the weekend. So there's a lot of teams that are going to look a lot different this weekend, including my 49ers. We'll get to that game. A lot of interesting games, a lot of good games. This is going to be a fun Sunday, a fun week. I'm even kind of intrigued by the Thursday night game. Miami-Jacksonville, I normally wouldn't be. But, this is going to be a good week. I'm excited for week 3.
No, love to set it up. Tuesday shows, no pressure. You just open the card. We see what's out there. And you're right. There's a lot of injury information that we have to decipher. But also keep in mind that we don't really get injury reports because Tuesday's an off day in the NFL. They start up on Wednesday. But there is some injury information coming out. And you're right. Your 49ers banged up specifically in the backfield and also on the defensive line. A lot to go over today. 27 people watching right off the bat here. Thank you for tuning in. An unbelievable response to us. Last Tuesday, great show. Thursday, over 9,000 views on that show. Sunday show was a lot of fun to do. And then last night, having a nice little Monday Night Football live countdown show. Me, Kyle, Flash, and also Jason Radowitz. So some good stuff going on the networks. If you haven't done so yet, you're just tuning in, checking out some NFL information for the first time, right here at sportsbookreview.com. Click on that subscribe button. Turn the notification bell on. When Kyle and I go live to talk NFL action right here on sportsbookreview.com, get it delivered directly to your inbox and come into the chat box and say hello. Parlay King, Jeff, Sean, and Alex. Welcome in already. Big show to go over. And typically, like we do on Tuesdays, let's take a quick review and a quick look back, Kyle, of what we saw in week 2. Winners and losers of the football teams that we watched. If I could just take a look at a couple moments here with my notes. The winners of the weekend last week, and I watched it with my very own eyes, and I was very mad that this team was a winner of the week. And I'm going to start out with those Los Angeles Rams who came to Philadelphia with no crowd noise. Sean McVay dialed up everything but the kitchen sink and threw it out the Eagles, and they didn't have any response on defense. I'll start with a winner of the week here on the Los Angeles Rams, looking primed and ready, taking down 2 straight NFC East opponents.
Yeah, and how about last night? How about the Las Vegas Raiders being 2-0 to start the year off? Looking like they could that offense looks really good. Josh Jacobs looks good. Derek Carr's not turning the football over. The defense was able to hold Drew Brees in check. Now they're without Michael Thomas, but I like what I saw out of the Raiders. A surprising 2-0 start for me. Another team, even though they lost, I think they won, is the New England Patriots. We were wondering if that offense was going to be any good. They barely beat Miami. That was a great game against Seattle, right down to the wire. Almost beat Seattle in Seattle. I think a lot of people are excited what they saw out of Cam Newton. So New England, even though they lost, I think there's a lot of good vibes coming out of New England after that game with Seattle.
Yeah, really interesting. Russell Wilson, you're looking at doing damage against a really upper echelon defense in the NFL with the New England Patriots. He was absolutely amazing in that game. Yeah. And you're right, winners Las Vegas, 2-0 to open the seasons. I didn't think they would even get out of week 1 with a victory. Pulled one off against the Carolina Panthers, who weren't a very good football team, but you still got to go on the road. It's hard to win on the road in the NFL. Then you come home, and we're going to also have in the next couple of weeks a referendum, I believe, on Drew Brees. They say, hey, if you just looked at the stat of Donnie, 300-plus yards passing in that game. Watch it with your eyeballs. Watch the junk, 80 to 100 yards he picked up under 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter when they're already down double digits. So that's something to keep an eye on as it moves forward. But I can't hate on the Raiders. It's just a shame that we didn't get to enjoy that Monday Night Football game, Kyle, with a packed house out there at the Death Star in Las Vegas. So a lot of good stuff from the winners. And how about the losers of the week? I started by saying with the Rams, the Philadelphia Eagles just lost to me, the least talented team in the NFL. The Washington Redskins embarrassed themselves week 1. Getting up 17-0 and then allowing 27 unanswered points the other way to win. And then on Sunday, one of those games where you have to win, you can't go 0-2. They got lucky at the end of the half, recovering a fumble, punching it in. Third quarter, drove right down the field, and Carson Wentz throws a horrible interception on first down, a momentum-changing moment in the game. The Rams carry it the rest of the way. The Eagles are sitting at 0-2, and what you would think be a franchise quarterback moment for Carson Wentz, they got to win this week. Now, you're getting the Cincinnati Bengals, probably the worst defense in the NFL. That might be the ultimate tonic, but starting out as a loser of the week, my Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, and I got to go to those Minnesota Vikings. How bad did Kirk Cousins look? That team looks lost. They just lost their best linebacker now with Anthony Barr going on IR for the year. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, those Vikings look terrible. They were one of my. I lost a little bit on them Vikings. I gave some love to Kirk Cousins, and I should have never done that. I don't know why in the world I would do that. Maybe it's because I was trying to throw my mom some love. But the Vikings look lost. They look really, really bad. Now they're 0-2. Winnable game this week, you think maybe against Tennessee, but right now I'm leaning Tennessee. This could be an 0-3 start, and some heads could start to roll there in Minnesota.
Yeah, taking a look also at the Atlanta Falcons. If you would just, again, you play Monday morning quarterback and just read the headlines specifically from an offensive perspective on the Falcons, there's no way they should be 0-2, and they should actually be 2-0. Heading into that football game, Dan Quinn, again, look, it starts in the Super Bowl when you blow a lead, and it just continues down the line. When you see it once, it might be an aberration, but you continually see the Atlanta Falcons from a defensive head coach continually get torched and absolutely at the end of the game. Now, look, he's not the special teams coordinator, but to have a football team that doesn't, I guess, understand the rules, because sometimes you get a little bit, like I've been, depending on what level of football you played, pee-wee football, high school football, college football, pro football, whoever's watching the show, you get a little bit of nervous when you get called on the hands team. When they kick the football at you, it takes a funny bounce. Maybe you don't want to step up and catch it. You want to wait back on it. But the fact that the ball is spinning out there, it's not even moving. You have to just walk up to it, Kyle, 8 yards when it gets to that range, and just lay down like a baby and cradle the football, and you win the game. Yeah. And nobody touched the football across the line. The Dallas Cowboys got it, and away they went. The Atlanta Falcons, the simple fact that Dan Quinn, I don't know how he still has a job continuously, but there's no way a defensive-minded head coach that's getting like 40 points a week and 500 yards out of his offense is 0-2. Big-time loser, Atlanta Falcons here, Kyle.
Yeah, it just seemed like they didn't know the rule, right? Very bizarre.
Just amazing.
I mean, that's the coaching staff's fault, 100%. Another team is the Denver Broncos. Big hopes coming into this year. They dropped to 0-2. They lose their quarterback now for 3 to 5 weeks. So what, we're going to have the Jeff Driscoll show.
Wait a minute. What big hopes did you have on the Broncos this year?
Well, I mean, the Broncos seemed like they had this mid-level talent. Maybe that we picked them on the under, but I think there was a lot of optimism going in for Denver. A lot of the Drew Lock lovers, we kind of talked about it where we didn't have them. We weren't as high on them as others were, but 0-2, now you lose your quarterback. You're not going to win games with Jeff Driscoll at quarterback. Could be a long year for the Denver Broncos, and they're finding themselves further and further away from the playoff picture in the AFC. So, yeah, Denver, Minnesota, man, Atlanta, you're right. It's just what a tough loss for Atlanta, and that's the biggest loss in the biggest comeback since they blew the lead in the Super Bowl. They just can't get out of their own way. I think it's a race to who gets fired first, Adam Gase or Dan Quinn?
There's a lot of them out there, and you're right to bring up the Vikings. It wasn't so much that you lose a game in the NFL, because I did pick the Indianapolis Colts in that game. I thought they would carry the payload, but it got away really fast. I mean, you're watching this game, even if you just have it on like the red zone or just trying to keep an eye on it, you're saying like, what is Minnesota doing on offense? Like they couldn't score. And every time something popped up, it was the Indianapolis Colts driving and kicking a field goal, just continually tacking on. Something is wrong in that offense. And obviously you pay Kirk Cousins a lot of money to win football games, or at least show up on Sunday. You have a dynamic running game. You still have Adam Thielen at wide receiver, a couple of young guys. It can't disappear that much just because Stephon Diggs goes over to Buffalo. That is a team that really needs a victory, and it's not going to get any easier this week, because I know a lot of people are already lining up, and we'll take a look at it. Those Tennessee Titans are coming to town. Yeah. That's a very fast and physical football team that's going to run downhill at you, and if you're struggling to score on offense, they might be licking their chops at this point. So that is definitely some interesting winners and losers. But I mean, it's still 2 weeks into the season. There's the extra playoff team, but some of these teams that you thought would at least put up some fights and had a better effort, certainly leaving it out on the table. Let's take a look also. Injuries this year in the NFL. Just seems like there's injuries every single year, but these ones seem that they're coming at an alarming rate. And sports gamblers, which we are at sportsbookreview.com, it's kind of tough, because no matter how many number crunching angles you work during the week, when you show up on Sunday and your running back goes down, your wide receiver goes down, your quarterback goes down, your bet goes out the window. You're a terrible handicapper or gambler. Well, I honestly didn't see my starting quarterback going down in the first quarter, second quarter, my wide receivers. You talked about it already. Drew Lock in Denver out a couple weeks. Now you talk Courtland Sutton's going to be out for the year. Not only did he get hurt, before the season falling down, but now you see he tears up his knee. That's going to be a detriment. But also you're taking a look at teams like the New York Giants. Sterling Shepard with a toe injury. We'll see how he comes back. Saquon Barkley is going to be gone for the year with an ACL tear. Your 49ers just playing mix and match here on the road, back-to-back weeks here on the East Coast. And you're saying to yourself, like, my goodness, we're in week 2. What are we going to look like in week 7? So injuries across the NFL, really racking our brains in DFS and also on gambling sides.
Oh, yeah. Christian McCaffrey, one of the, DFS darling. He's gone for a while now. He thinks he'll be back sooner than they say. There's just a ton of injuries. And you mentioned the 49ers. Both their top 2 running backs look like they're going to be out this week. Jimmy Garoppolo has a small chance of playing. I probably wouldn't if I were them. Nick Bosa just got announced yesterday. He's out for the year. That's a huge loss in the defensive front.
D Ford's out too. Solomon Thomas is crazy.
And it's kind of sad because they were doing this whole staying in Virginia in the bubble thing to stay healthier and make the trip easier. And it's just been a nightmare. The MRI truck was broken yesterday, so they couldn't even get results early. Their airplane got hit on the runway. They had to switch airplanes, and then they still won the football game. Yeah, CMC out for 6 weeks. He thinks he can be back in 4. He said he's taking it as a challenge, and I wouldn't rule that guy out. He's a terrific athlete and a really tough player. But yeah, just bad luck for the 49ers. They won the game. They covered, of course. I was very happy about that, but that feels like a lot of losses in a win. Sometimes a win is a loss, and that's what it felt like in that game. And they're right back to the same turf this week. So what's going to happen to the 49ers? That's going to be an ugly game. It is a good thing they play the Giants, but right now I'm not sure that Nick Mullins can beat the New York Giants.
Yeah, Nick Mullins. I mean, you got Jerick McKinnon in the backfield, some questionable wide receivers, a D-line that's banged up. Now, there's still a pedigree, still have one of the best play callers in the NFL, and you saw last week through attrition, a couple running backs go down. They're still able to move the football. But I like the effort that the Giants gave last week. We'll talk about that game in a little bit, but dinged up injuries, that is injury central. And also, being from the city or just outside the city of Philadelphia, being an Eagles fan growing up, we saw a lot of this at Veterans Stadium where teams coming in were not only worried about the gangrene defense, Reggie White, Jerome Brown, Clyde Simmons, and Randall Cunningham, but they were worried about playing on the AstroTurf at the Vet. Now you have the San Francisco Giants that are already furious. They lost all these players, and it's like, whew, the NFL better go check out this site, but at least we don't have to play there again. You're going to play again right away in the same place where guys are worried about blowing their knee out. That is an added advantage if you're an underdog at home because the Giants, say, hey, look, we play here. This is our field. And the San Francisco Giants are saying, hey, you know what? We don't want anything to do with this. We would rather play at, in Philadelphia at a later time or somebody better change the grass, which isn't going to happen here on the field turf. But that's another added incentive. But if you just watch your teammates go down and you say, oh, yeah, we're going to get back at it on Sunday on that same field. That's going to be a tough one to certainly dig out. How about Pick Six? We always promote the Pick Six contest here at Sportsbook Review. It's free. It's me all season long. If you haven't got it yet, maybe you can't win the finality of the prize, but you can certainly win the week-to-week prizes. So hit the link below, sbrpicks.com/NFL. The link will be provided on there. If you miss the shows, if you're late to the shows, you can always hit that link and get everything on video and also the write-ups that we have right here on site. Kyle, went 5-1 last week. Looking like a genius. Moving up that ladder. 3-3 in the first week, but I hit my double down play. 5-1 week 2, hit my double down play with the New York Giants, and also gave that play out for all of the quote-unquote viewers before on Friday. So it felt good. 17-0 down. Saquon Barkley's out. Sterling Shepard's out. I was waiting for it. Donnie, you idiot. You don't even know what you're talking about in the NFL. What a bad play. Everything worked out well for me in the Pick Six contest. 5-1. Looking forward to move on. And also, Kyle, before we get to your Pick Six contest, 45 minutes into the show, as we like to say, about 15 minutes to go. Kelsey Kramer will be here. We will review her Pick Six picks, see what she likes on the weekend, and certainly see if we can, at least I can put another good effort. Kyle, your effort in the Pick Six. Don't you say it's better, because I don't know what you did, but it better not be better than my 5-1, or else I'm going to be a solo host on this show.
Yeah, well, you're lucky. You eked it out. I went 4-2 this weekend. 2 backdoor covers got me in Buffalo and in Cleveland. So it was a backdoor warrior this weekend, but 4-2, I'll take it. Anytime you go 66%, you go 66% in the NFL season, you're going to be winning money by the end of the year. That's about where you want to be. So I'll take the 4-2. A nice job on the 5-1 this week. I'm not messing around this week. I need my first 6-0 week right now. That's what's happening this week. 6-0 week.
As long as I'm plus money or plus units in this contest at the end of the week, I just don't want to be like, hey, look, Donnie and Kyle host the show. What about their pick six picks? Well, they're in like 3,000th place each of them, so take it with a grain of salt. But it's nice getting out early because I always know, to me, the first 2 weeks of the season are the hardest to cap. So sitting at 8-4 in the pick six contest on all NFL wagers. Keep in mind also, guys, can mix it in. NFL, NCAA football, you can do it all. Every time I look, I'm like, 5-1 week, and I see people are 6-0. I'm like, geez, man, you got to go perfect 6-0. You got to go 6-0 to at least have a shot. So it shows how many good handicappers are watching with SBR and certainly logging on, being part of the competition. So it is a lot of fun to do that. Now, as we like to do, 15 minutes, we set up the show. We talked about week 2. We had a great time last night on the Monday Night Live football show betting party. It was me, Kyle Flash, and Jason Radowitz. We'll have guests all throughout the year on Monday night. Thank you guys for joining us. It was a great time last night to watch. I had the Raiders plus 5.5, a couple prop bets with Alvin Kamara, so it worked out for me. I know Kyle also made some money as well, even though he is probably just finishing up right now watching that Raiders Saints game go live here on a Tuesday. That's neither here nor there. Why don't we start talking about the games coming up this weekend? A large card again. Love the fact that there are no bye weeks that are kicking in yet. I believe the bye weeks come in week 4, which will be next week. So a nice full slate on Sunday. Let's get to it. Thursday night football. And keep in mind, guys, this is the broad stroke that we have. Thoughts that come up during the week. Friday, we get the pencils out. We start sharpening our skills, getting ready to go. Friday, you'll see some videos come out. And then Sunday, the coup de grace, 12 p.m. Eastern time, Kyle and I come on and break it all down leading up till kickoff to get those winners and watch to see how it plays out. 301, 302 on the rotation. Miami and Jacksonville. You know me, Kyle. I mean, look, we've been doing shows here for a couple of months now, but anybody who's followed me for years, betting on the road team in the NFL, say, hey, look, last week they covered by a whimsical miracle. And the fact that road teams struggle to win on the road in the NFL on Sundays, Thursdays are completely different. Minshew's coming in this game versus Minkah Fitzpatrick. How about that? Ryan Fitzpatrick in this game. Opens up at 1.5, Kyle. I'm seeing threes across the board. 44 is a total. We love Gardner Minshew. We talked about it last week against Tennessee. Yeah. Look, the kid is a mini form of Ryan Fitzpatrick. And what do we mean by that? Scrambles around, makes plays, can throw interceptions, but throws and makes big plays down the field. Not afraid to go in the one-on-one coverage and give his wide receivers a victory chance. I like Jacksonville in this game. It's kind of tough. It got to that 3 number, but I'm still going to go with the home team in this one early in the week. But that number is getting away at 48s across the board. I still think we see points, but boy, wouldn't it have been better if we were doing the show live and it was still 44 here on a Tuesday, Kyle.
Yeah, we'd be smashing the over on that 44. I'm still seeing a couple 2.5s on Pinnacle and Bet Online, so I'm all over that 2.5 Jacksonville. Shop around. That's what they offer at sportsbookreview.com. Make sure you get over there, click that odds tab, and shop around. It's the best way to do it. It's the smartest way to do it. I mean, it's just silly not to. I like Jacksonville in this game. You know me. I've been talking about it. I like Gardner Minshew. He's been he's done everything I expect him to do. He's a great streaming option for you fantasy football players. I just think they have a little bit more than Miami does. You worry a little bit about that Miami secondary, but sure didn't seem to bother Josh Allen last week in that Buffalo Bills
Byron
offense.
Jones probably going to miss this game too this week. So you're looking at their key offseason acquisition back there might not play. Minshew mania, baby. Yeah.
Minshew mania. Sign me up for Gardner Minshew. I like Jacksonville early on, 2.5, even the 3. I'll take the 3. Worst case, you maybe get a push here, but a 27-20 type game feels right. I'll take the under on that 48 points. Seems a bit high.
Yep, Thursday Night Football. And again, we'll be back on Thursday night. We will tee that game up once we get all the injury reports and info early in the afternoon. We'll be able to go over that game with a nice in-depth look. Let's give it over to Sunday, 1 o'clock game. West Coast team coming east. You saw them last night. Those Las Vegas Raiders played extremely well. Watch it. I was sitting on the 5.5 in that game. We were doing the game live on air, and I'm watching the first quarter going, I can't even believe I took the Raiders in this one. They look horrendous. And all of a sudden, as the game goes on, Drew Brees' arm melts in the pocket, and the Raiders are in full control. And even at the half, we're looking at the game, 17-17. I'm scratching my head still on air going, it just looked like I don't think the Raiders can actually win this game. And this is coming from a guy that bet the Raiders getting 5.5. And I'm saying I don't think they can win the game. Dominated the second half, played extremely well. Now they're going to come east and play against Cam Newton and the New England Patriots. We talked, Kyle, on the show last week. When you look at Bill Belichick, and you look at Josh McDaniels, there was no way they're going in that game saying, we're going to probably be able to have the same game plan we did against Miami, run the football, no explosive plays, we'll lean on our defense. Well, Russ was cooking, and New England had to engage. It's nice to know that Cam Newton and the Patriots can engage in a higher scoring affair because they're going to be able to lean on their good defenses against subpar offenses. Not to say that the Vegas Raiders, Kyle, are subpar offense, but Russ and that offense are absolutely greased right now. That was a great performance. But they're going to get the Raiders high and mighty 2-0. New England 1-1 back in Foxborough. 6s, 5.5s, 6.5s across the board. So depending on where you shop it, over-under opened up at 48. That's now a little bit lower, 47.5s at some outlets. I look at this game right away, and I like the Las Vegas Raiders' effort. I really do. But I just feel early in the week, New England is going to be able to set a tone in this football game. That defense is going to come around. They're going to force Derek Carr into some mistakes. And Cam Newton's got a better, more livelier quarterbacking position than Drew Brees to me. Early in the week, I'm leaning towards the New England Patriots. What are you looking at here?
Yep, I'm right there with you. And you talked about it. Even though they lost the game, it was so encouraging to see that passing game evolve for New England. Now you've got a team from the West Coast traveling east after a Monday Night Football game, an emotional win. They're opening a new stadium. Right now, I have to eat some crow. Abel talked about it out there. I was hard on the Raiders before the season. Now they're 2-0, so I got to eat some crow on that. But I think they run into a buzzsaw. You know, I just do. I mean, it's going to happen. You know, I'm happy to tell you when I'm wrong, and I usually don't brag too much when I'm right. So it's a nice balance there. You know, I do it in private. I brag, you know, to my son. But I think they run into a buzzsaw this weekend. I like New England a lot. Just too much working against them. Early game, West Coast to East Coast, after Monday night in New England. That defense. I like New England. I like them by more than a touchdown right now.
Los Angeles Rams and the Buffalo Bills. Great game here. Looking forward to this one at 1 o'clock. And we take a look at early ticket action, 6 out of 10 tickets coming on the Rams. What's not to like about both of these football teams? Buffalo handled their business week 1 against the New York Jets. Go on the road, handled their business again against the Miami Dolphins. But you're stepping up in class now. You got, the Jets who are just looking abysmal. The Dolphins, okay, they're going to give you an honest effort. They're just not there yet. But now you come home to a formidable opponent. And also, one thing that I looked at last week, because I thought the Philadelphia, I didn't take them in the pick 6 contest, either the Rams or the Eagles. But I thought the Eagles would win. I thought they were in a decent spot. But I sort of underestimated what actually Sean McVay can do when there's no noise in a stadium, because he's one of the few head coaches where the quarterback relies on, they get up to the line of scrimmage quick, and he's still talking in his ear. All right, you see the cover 3 out there. Make sure you look in the flat. That should be wide open. Then the play goes off. When you have a screaming loud crowd, you can't communicate to the headset where he hears all that easily, but also taking it from the headset and maybe changing a play or a formation at the line, which you might be able to do, again, with an empty stadium that you can't do with a packed stadium. So that comes into play. But I wonder here, because I'm getting the Buffalo Bills, and the Eagles didn't show anything to me. And we saw the Dallas Cowboys the week before. We don't know how good those two teams are. They don't look that great, but the Rams look really good. But again, back-to-back games on the East Coast, 1 o'clock. Buffalo's a different animal on defense. Buffalo's going to have a mobile quarterback. Buffalo's got a lot of weapons that are working on the outside. I look at that number at -2. I lean Buffalo Bills early in the week here, Kyle. I do. How about you?
Yeah, me too. I thought you were going to take the Rams and we'd get to disagree, but I like Buffalo. They kind of took the opposite approach, right, of the 49ers. They said, screw it, we're going to fly home and we'll fly back to Buffalo. One thing to watch for the Rams, Cam Akers is going to be out, the rookie running back. Malcolm Brown looks like he's going to try to play, so maybe Darrell Henderson is a streaming option out there in the fantasy world. But when you start to drop like that, players are dropping like that, and you've got Buffalo with a two-headed monster, Singletary and Moss, 2 nice young running backs. The wide receivers are cooking. Josh Allen is on fire right now. That secondary is going to be a very, very tough matchup for Jared Goff and those wide receivers. I don't know if I trust Jared Goff back-to-back weeks on the East Coast. I like Buffalo right now.
Yeah, you're keeping in mind, too, trying to look at that linebacking situation for the Buffalo Bills with Milano and Edwards, trying to get them back into the flow. That would really be a big help if they can get Edmonds back, and also, obviously, linebacker Milano. But we'll see if that actually comes back into play. But early in the week, looking at that game, it seems like a pretty high over-under for a Buffalo game. I know they can open it up a little bit, but both of these defenses can really get after you. 48.5 at some outlets, so I'm going to keep an eye on that. But early in the week, opened up at -3, really light, circling in about 2.5, 2. I think it's about price. It's a good number here. But again, I sort of be missing out. Like, well, how much fun? Like, I feel bad. Like, Buffalo is finally here, and you're expecting big things. That crowd and that fan base deserves this season, and they can't watch it. This place would be a madhouse on Sunday with the Rams coming down. It's so much fun to watch, and we're going to get robbed of that here. But, hey, it is what it is. At least we get to actually watch football as opposed to not even talking about it at all. 465, 466. Houston and Pittsburgh. Seems like one of the sharper games of the week. 7 out of every 10 tickets coming on the Pittsburgh Steelers here. We open up at 5.5. Now we're sitting at 4s across the board. And my initial look, because again, we're gamblers. You try to look at both sides. Pittsburgh, obviously, to me, is the better team. But it's hard to weigh the scales of what Houston actually is. Because if you're saying you're either 0-2, Bill O'Brien, you dummy, you trade away your wide receiver. Right. They did play the Ravens and the Chiefs. You're talking about Team 1, Team 1A here, looking for Super Bowl championships. But then again, you're going on the road. It's not like you're going to play the New York Jets. You're playing a really good football team in the Pittsburgh Steelers in this instance. A little bit of a tongue twister there.
I'd probably take the Pirates over Houston too.
Maybe the offense is better there for the Pirates here, getting shut out last night, by the way. But back to Houston overall, I want to take them in the spot. I do, but the injury information piling up for them. I don't know if they have the weapons. That Pittsburgh defense is going to be coming after them, but there is some reason to believe, like, numbers just don't move because it's like thin air and we're just moving lines around in Las Vegas and offshore. That line is moving for a reason. Looks like maybe a hard-fought battle coming in. Early in the week, I do lean towards the Texans, but I'm not in love with it just by saying, hey, it's a sharp play. I'm going with it.
Yeah, it's really weird that line is moving so much in Houston's favor. It kind of makes you sit there and go, what the hell is going on? Because when I look at it across the board, Pittsburgh, you talked about Baltimore last week. Pittsburgh and Baltimore are both very, very good defenses. Ben Roethlisberger at home throughout his career, I think he's something like 81-28 at home throughout his career. Yeah. He's a much more, now, of course, no fans, so it's different. Of course, terrible towels aren't out there flinging around, and the crowd's not going crazy. But still, the friendly confines. You got Houston traveling to Pittsburgh, a terrific secondary. No weapons for the Houston Texans. I mean, Will Fuller was blanked last week. Brandon Cooks looked okay. I'm go against that line movement. Right now, if that just keeps more and more down, -3.5, I'll take that. Pittsburgh over Houston. I'm not a big believer in Houston. I think they go 0-3. Big Ben at home is usually a recipe for success. Sign me up for Pittsburgh -3.5, -4.
There you go. And 467, 468, 1 o'clock game here on the East Coast. Again, San Francisco was in the Meadowlands last week. We'll be back in the Meadowlands this week. Daniel Jones, honest effort last week, down 17-0, lost his best running back, best wide receiver, still fought hard and got into the red zone late in the game with a chance to win it. But Golden Tate with an offensive pass interference, which ended the game. They take the loss. They go to 0-2. It seems like the Giants start 0-2 every single year. Now they face the 49ers, and you're looking and saying, hey, 49ers open up at 4. It's 4s, 4.5s out there. We don't even know who the quarterback A is going to be. I would assume that Garoppolo is not going to play in this game, so probably going to look for Nick Mullins. But he does have NFL experience. But you don't have, like Raheem Mostert's like him and Alvin Kamara just looking fast. You hand it off, and the guy's just like a track team running down the field. It's amazing to watch. He goes down and say, all right, well, Tevin Coleman's got some speed. He goes down. Now you're leaning on Jerick McKinnon, who does have some speed, which was a nice free agent signing a couple years ago, but always injured. Now he's going to step up to the plate. You don't have a lot at wide receiver. You have a really banged up defensive line, but also the Giants are banged up as well. But I honestly look at this game, and I sort of try to mirror it last week, Kyle, off what I saw. You know, the Chicago Bears have a really good front seven. Not a great offense. Hung around in that game, almost won it, but did cover the spread. You're getting about the same number here, and you're home. Are the 49ers a better pedigree organization than the Chicago Bears? Sure they are. But you still need weapons to beat teams down, and I'm not sure at all levels if that's going to be there for the 49ers this week.
Yeah, me neither. And Jeff Wilson Jr. is a guy to keep an eye on. They like Jeff Wilson Jr. He's stepped in a few times in previous seasons and filled in for Mostert and et cetera. So I think Jeff Wilson Jr. for you fantasy football players, a nice streaming option this week. Pick him up on the waiver wire. You could get a couple nice weeks out of him. This game's tough. Right now, I am leaning the Giants over my 49ers.
Me too.
It's just been a tough trip. Things have just not gone their way. I know sometimes, the best laid plans just don't work out, and they tried, and I'm happy that they tried it. When I first heard about this, I'm like, oh, boom, nice little 2-week stint here. They're going to stay over there, beat up on the Jets, beat up on the Giants, get back home, let's rock and roll. I just don't know who the 49ers are going to have to throw out there. They have a banged-up secondary. Defensive line, you talked about it, across the board is hurt. Two best pass rushers are down for the 49ers on both ends, and that's where you want to attack the New York Giants. Yeah, go ahead. Right, yeah, and I know that Saquon Barkley's out. They just signed Devontae Freeman, about an hour ago, it looks like. Devontae Freeman is now a part of that team. I'm sure right now it's still going to be the Dion Lewis, Wayne Gallman show for the first week until he kind of gets into a groove. He hasn't been on a football team. But just with those injuries, and especially if Jimmy Garoppolo misses, now we're talking about Nick Mullins throwing to Brandon Ayuk, and if George Kittle misses, I mean, is that really what we're going to put our money on? My personal money will not be on this game, but since we pick every game here on the show, right now I'm leaning the Giants.
Yeah, me too. No, it's definitely going to be up in the air. 469, 470, Tennessee and Minnesota. One of the teams that people are just lining up to bet this week are the Tennessee Titans. 8 out of every 10 tickets. A lot of money coming in. Opens up at 1.5, moving in the right direction up to 2.5. We know how good, Mike Zimmer is as a head coach, specifically at home and against out-of-conference opponents. He's going to line one up this week. And this is one of those spots where I do think Minnesota should be able to bounce back. But it's hard to watch those first 2 weeks and say, what the heck is going on with the Minnesota offense? And when you have a quarterback in shambles, the one thing you know about the Tennessee Titans, sure, they could give up some points. You saw it last week against Gardner Minshew, but they can have some lockdown games like you saw opening night where they play good defense against the Denver Broncos. I'm having a tough time placing this game because the over-under opened up at 45.5, now sits at 48. It doesn't feel like an over game to me, but it's one of those games where Minnesota really is going to have to circle the wagons if they want to have a football season. I'm not sure they can, but I'm interested in this line. If it creeps to 3, then I might be interested in the Vikings saying, look, like Custer's last stand, we don't get this game. We're basically going to be done for the year. Let's throw everything at the Tennessee squad, who is undefeated and can afford a loss, if that makes sense. And Mike Zimmer usually is very good in these spots, but there's not a lot to like when you watch that film. So early in the week, leaning towards hopefully a line movement to get Minnesota in that 3 range, but not in love with this game so far.
Yeah, and we've talked about it many times. You're not going to find yourself a ton of success by taking a bunch of road favorites, right? Especially going into Minnesota. But it's just different this year without the fans, and Minnesota looks terrible. They just look absolutely terrible. So it could be a trap. Right now I'm leaning Tennessee, especially if I'm getting it at that 2.5. I feel a lot better about it at 2.5. If it creeps to 3, you're right, it might be something that brings me pause. It does feel like an under game. They're just going to run Derrick Henry down the throat of that defense. Minnesota loses Anthony Barr, their best defensive player. We've talked about that young secondary that they thought somehow was going to be better after they shipped out Waynes and Xavier Rhodes. That has simply just not been the case. Kirk Cousins isn't getting a much easier matchup here. The Tennessee defense is a very good defense. I like Tennessee in this game. Yeah, great pass rush. Logan Ryan, couple of those corners back there for Tennessee that I'm
Byers great as a safety. From top to I like the construction of the Tennessee football team. They can pass, they can run, they're physical, and their head coach brings that mentality, which looks like opposite right now, Kyle, of the mentality you're getting out of Mike Zimmer's Vikings. Yeah,
and you should get A.J. Brown back this week, it looks like, so Tennessee's going to be at full strength. I like Tennessee, just not a lot to like out of Minnesota. I think they're going 0-3, and this was one of those preseason, if you will, during the kind of the quarantine era darling. Everyone was talking about the Minnesota Vikings. Kirk Cousins, that loss of Stephon Diggs looks like it has a bigger impact than we all thought it was going to have because they didn't replace him with anything. B.C. Johnson and the rookie Justin Jefferson just aren't going to cut it. Adam Thielen is not an elite number 1 wide receiver. I like the Titans this week.
Yeah, it should be interesting to watch it play out during the week. I'm going to keep an eye on that line to see where it goes. But look, all the money's coming in and the tickets on Tennessee, and that line is moving in the right direction. If you're betting them, Nathan Cern in the chat box says Titans easy. Sterling Straley, Titans. So a lot of people tightened up out here, ready to rock. Abel says Derrick Henry covered his prop bet at 115 on week 2. It seems like you could pencil that in just about each and every week for him to run. And again, if they have the lead, there's no better probably closer in a game to have than King Henry in the backfield. Now, we got to hit a little bit of a speed burst here, so we'll try to get through most of these games here. Washington and Cleveland, Haskins and Mayfield. The line, when I look at the line, it seems a little bit high to me. But when I look at this, there's absolutely zero shot that I'm going to be looking to try to make an angle or a play for the Washington football team. And it's simple mathematics to me when you watch the games. I don't care about that. They have a really good front seven. They're going to play decent defense. Ron Rivera's a good head coach. He's battling cancer. They're playing hard for him. There's no question about it. But in the NFL, I can't have an offense with a below average quarterback, non-existent running backs, a half a wide receiver, no tight ends, and a banged up offensive line and say, I'm going to go on the road and win football games. It's not going to happen. The least talented offense in the NFL outside of the banged up Jets is by far the Washington football team. Now, you're putting your money saying, can Baker Mayfield win by double digits? That's what you're going to have to function on. But I think you saw what can take place. A dominant running game. Lean on your running game. Play action passes. Roll the pocket out with Baker Mayfield. And the good thing for Baker Mayfield this week is he doesn't have to win it alone. He doesn't have to engage because there's no engagement from Washington's offense. It's terrible. Just don't turn it over to give Washington a short field. You should win this by double digits. I want to see if I can maybe get this line at 6.5 because it's not showing up. But there's no way in the world I'm going anywhere near putting money on the Washington football team.
Yep, I don't think I'll do it the entire season. I don't care who they're playing. And you kind of saw Cleveland's offense get in a rhythm last week. They've had the extra 3 days playing on Thursday Night Football last week. This would be a game, saw it right there, Sean from Ireland. I'll take it if I can get 6.5, like you said. This might be a game where I'll just tease down a couple points. I'll just tease it down to 6 and enjoy the win because I
tease it down to 6. What do you have? 1 point teasers out here? What are you doing?
Yeah, I'll just buy a point. I'll buy a point and feel better about that so that I might even go to 5 because those 6s and 7s, the 6s have a lot more value now that the extra points are being missed because they're a longer extra point. So there is some weird math, silly stuff that goes on in this damn head of mine that talks me into those things. But right now it's Cleveland. Cleveland's the better team. They're more talented across the board. Give me the Cleveland Browns.
Now, and I'm with you early in the week. Maybe taking a look at some early forecasts. 75. It's going to be nice weather here, specifically from the Midwest in. About 77 degrees, and in Cleveland, getting a wind off the lake of 10 to 12 miles an hour. You'll take that each and every time. So you're going to get some good weather conditions for scoring. Right. Talking about the same things in Philadelphia, same weather conditions, high 70s on Sunday. Joe Burrow's going to come to town, has an extra couple days. If they watched anything of what Jared Goff was doing, rolling the pocket right, rolling the pocket left, you have an athletic quarterback, but he is still a rookie. The Eagles are licking their wounds. The first thing I look at this game is that over 46 because I'm not happy with the Philadelphia defense. And look, we still have a rookie quarterback, but they're letting him throw 40 plus times in a game. That means interceptions, completions, and a lot of clock stoppages, and also a quarterback on 3rd and 5 that can move the sticks with his feet. I like that from Joe Burrow's end. The Cincinnati defense is horrendous. The Eagles should be able to pencil in being into the 20s automatically. Early in the week, forget about looking at a side and trusting the Philadelphia Eagles to win a game. I think we're going to get some points in this game. That's the way I'm looking early here, Kyle.
Yeah, and you just took my you took the words right out of my mouth. You took my pick right there, but I completely agree. The 46.5, that feels pretty. I love that warm weather. Again, the Philadelphia secondary we thought was going to be much improved this year hasn't really come to fruition. Hopefully they start to gel a little bit. But right now, I do like the Eagles minus 5.5 on a couple books. I'll take the Eagles minus 5.5, but I love the over on those points.
Yeah, it wasn't so much for the Philadelphia Eagles at cornerback of the secondary, which you didn't get great play out of your safeties, but the tight end positions was destroying the linebackers. So Higbee went absolutely nuts against the Eagles, but you had an injury at the tight end last week for the Cincinnati Bengals, so maybe that's one of those areas where the Eagles might get a little bit lucky this weekend. Let's keep moving here. Chicago and Atlanta. Mitchell Trubisky on the road. Now, last week, what was the reasoning, Kyle, that I liked the New York Football Giants? Because Trubisky was going to play that role where he had to win by a touchdown. He was up 17-0. He could not get that done. Roles go to reverse. They go on the road this weekend, and now he becomes the dog again, about 4 points, 3.5 across the board, depending on where you're shopping at. Now, also looking at the over-under in this game, 47.5 to 48.5. Even though that Bears defense is good, you're playing in a dome. Matt Ryan and that offense is red hot, and as long as they can stay healthy at the skill positions, they should be okay in this one. It's a matter, do you trust Trubisky? Because looking at the Atlanta defense, it stinks. But Mitch, can I just punt? Can you give me 60% completions in this game? I'm not even talking about down the field. Just be effective in the pocket. They should be able to move the football. So early in the week, I'm going to say, you know what? Mitch in that role of getting 4 points, I might be into it, but man, it's hard to get over my hate for Mitchell Trubisky.
Oh, man, I'm so mad at Mitchell Trubisky. Just throw the damn ball to Allen Robinson, would you? I'm just so disgusted with that performance from last week. But I really am. I'm not forgiving Mitchell Trubisky anytime soon, even though I'm a degenerate and I'll probably have him in some of my lineups this weekend because you want to attack that Atlanta defense. But right now, with all the stuff that happened to Atlanta last week, I think you see them really focused, really fired up. I'm actually going to go with Kelsey's Atlanta Falcons. I like that. Minus 3.5 on a lot of books. I'll take that 3.5.
No, I hear you on that. Let's keep moving forward here. Got a couple minutes before we bring in Kelsey Kramer to go over her pick six picks and what we like for this weekend. The Jets and the Colts. How about this one, Kyle? Opens up at 9.5. We're already up to 11. People are just looking to fade away on those New York Jets. And for reason to believe, if you watched last week, you don't even really love what Indianapolis does on offense. But if they're going to bring that same type of game plan for what Minnesota, who has way more weapons than the New York Jets do, will you probably get the same sort of play out? But it's hard. It's still hard for me to get over that mental block when you see the double digits. That means an absolute train wreck, blowout, waste them away city in this game, which maybe if you think that's going to happen, you don't want to wait for Sam Darnold down 2 touchdowns late in the fourth quarter to throw a late one just because they're trying to work on their offense. Maybe you zero in again on the first half and say Indianapolis comes out, they assert their dominance, 17-7 at the half. I'm not worried about a cover. That's the way I'm looking here. Go ahead, Kyle.
Yeah, I like that a lot. It's just tough to do those double-digit spreads unless you're playing college football. I just right. But I do think the offense looks better with Marlon Mack gone and Jonathan Taylor taking over that main running back role. He looked phenomenal last week. The Jets, you saw it. They got destroyed not just by Raheem Mostert, but also by Jerick McKinnon and a beat-up 49ers offense. So if there was ever a team I'm going to lay, double-digit points against, I suppose it's the New York Jets. Makes me a little bit nervous. Right now, I guess I'm still leaning the Colts. Sam Darnold and that team, they're just so terrible. I think Adam Gase is fired within the next 3 weeks.
Jonathan Taylor, too, in the backfield, man. Yeah.
Oh, I love Jonathan Taylor. Nyheim Hines looks good. Michael Pittman's starting to round into form. T.Y. Hilton, much more talented team, better coached team, at home. I'll take Indianapolis. The weird shadows in that stadium. One thing I was really strange when we were watching that Minnesota-Indianapolis game, all the weird shadowing on the field.
They got the big windows. They're like the Dallas game. You ever see when Dallas is home where they have whoever put a big window in where the sun sets during the football game is ridiculous. So get some tint on that window, man. Look, come on, 30%. You know what I mean? Let's go. Get it done.
Get it done.
Keep it moving here. How about this game? This is an interesting one because there's a lot of moving parts. Carolina and the Chargers. You got Teddy Bridgewater is going to start a quarterback, obviously. The offense has looked really good. Now, CMC is not going to be playing in this game, or at least for the next couple weeks. But we're looking at a line open up at 7, now down to 6.5. What are we getting from the Chargers? Is Tyrod Taylor going to play? Is Justin Herbert going to play? And you brought up a great point where if you have the number one quarterback, this isn't like high school football or college football where you work in quarterbacks during the week. The number one quarterback takes every single snap while the number 2 quarterback basically is working on somebody else's offense to get the defense ready. And they say, I got to start. I didn't even practice our plays this week. I know the playbook, but it would have been nice to get all these reps during the week. Who's going to get those? I assume it's going to be Justin Herbert, but I love the way he started. But now you have a game plan against him. Now you see Matt Rule is going to see what's going to take place, and you see him move down. I'm not interested in taking a rookie quarterback, even though I thought he played really well, Kyle, at -7. Maybe a total looks, because I think the Panthers defense isn't very good, but I still think Teddy Bridgewater might be able to move the football in this game. 44.5, 44, maybe an over early. I'm looking at real quick, Kyle. What are you looking at this game?
Yeah, Anthony Lynn is saying when Tyrod Taylor's ready, he's going to play Tyrod Taylor, and that makes absolutely no sense to me. If you draft a quarterback number 6 overall, he comes in against the defending Super Bowl champions, puts up 300 yards without even practicing during the week. You leave that kid in. Tyrod's week to week is what they're saying, so I highly doubt he plays this week. I kind of like what I saw at Herbert. I would actually agree and say they have a week to prepare for a rookie quarterback. But that Carolina defense is terrible. Carolina, Atlanta, the Jets, the Bengals, those are 4 really, really, really bad defenses. I think I'll take the Chargers -6.5 right now. I don't care who's at quarterback.
No, I hear you. We'll go rapid fire here coming up on these next couple games. Detroit and Arizona. Stafford's going to go on the road. It's a high number. Opened up at 53, now sits at 54. Arizona now playing the king of the hill at -6. I'm interested to see who Detroit is going to get back at wide receiver this weekend. And I like to play everything. First halves, team totals, game totals over. I'm actually trying to zero in here. If I can get a healthy wide receiver core, maybe looking at Detroit team total over. What are you looking at early in the week here between Detroit and Arizona?
Well, I'm praying Kenny Golladay plays, and it looks like he's going to. It was about damn time because I drafted him in the second round in a couple of drafts, 14-team leagues. Right now, I like Arizona, -6, -5.5. I just think they're a better football team. Kyler Murray is absolutely on fire, DeAndre Hopkins and company, etc. I like Arizona, and I like them by -5. I like them by more than 6 points.
By the way, guys, 200 people in here spending their Tuesday afternoon talking football that's not going to be played for 5 or 6 days away. I really appreciate it because I've been on a lot of shows here at Sports Review. I've done shows by myself. I've done shows with other people, different networks. It's unbelievable support we get because most people, why would I talk Tuesday football? It shows that you guys care about the channel and care about the information coming out. And I always like to bring that up when I see the participation in the chat box, the people viewing here. It really feels good because me and Kyle could just talk behind the scenes and have a lot of fun together and do this. But it's nice to see that we're being appreciated and people actually come and enjoy the content. You guys are awesome, so keep it up with that. 4 games we're going to get to really quickly. Kelsey's going to come in just a minute, so let's just go over Tampa Bay and Denver. Tom Brady on the road, -6 it opens up. It's going to be hard for me to look and take Denver, even though I thought Driscoll played well late in that football game, coming in relief. Now he's going to get that full week of practice. I'm actually looking at 43.5, maybe taking an over in this game. Real quick on this one.
Yeah, it feels like a trap the whole game. I think I'm looking at the team totals or first half. I'll take Tampa Bay in the first half. Again, road favorite by over a touchdown. Denver did lose their quarterback and Cortland Sutton, so that's why you're going to see the money on Tampa Bay's side. I would lean that side right now, but I'm nervous about it. I'm hoping that number shortens up by the end of the week.
All right, Dallas and Seattle, Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson. Boy, look at this over-under at 56, and why not? Both of these offenses can absolutely get after it. You got to get basically 60 to win, which is a tough go in the NFL, but it's certainly possible. And I don't care what's going on. Dallas is going to put up a great effort, I understand. But Russell Wilson is on another planet right now. So I'm not going against early in the week Seattle for me. Who you got?
Yep, I got Seattle. Dallas on the road, even though there's no fans, there's no 12th man in Seattle. It always makes me nervous when it's over 4 or 5 points with Russell Wilson because we talk about it. It's a close game every game they play. So it wouldn't shock me if this was a 3-point game. But I like Seattle in this game at home. I still don't trust Dallas. They got very, very lucky last week. Very lucky.
All right. Green Bay, New Orleans, next Sunday night football. You just saw New Orleans yesterday. We're bagging on Drew Brees. But how about this? This is probably the line of the week. 7 out of every 10 tickets coming in on the Green Bay Packers. Over-under staying at 51. But how about this? Line opens up at -3 as a favorite for New Orleans, staying at -3. We know about Drew Brees. We know about the Saints in primetime. But keep in mind, no fans. That's going to change it up for me. Early in the week, I'll take the square play. Give me Green Bay getting 3.
Oh, nice. I'm going to take the Saints at home. Drew Brees, we talked about this on the show last night, almost 100 more touchdowns at home than on the road, something like 25-point higher winning percentage. He's a much better quarterback at home. I think they were embarrassed last night. Green Bay looks good, but I do not think they're better than the New Orleans Saints. Now, Michael Thomas not being there would be something that hurts the Saints. It looks like Devontae Adams is going to play. He wanted to come back into that game last weekend. They just decided they didn't need him against a bad Detroit team. I'll take the Saints early -3, but I'm nervous.
Now, I hear your last game that we're going to talk about, the Monday Night Football extravaganza, which we will be live during this game, maybe the game of the year, Kansas City and Baltimore. Real quick on this one, opened up at 3, sitting at some 3.5 outlets. Most people look at this game and go, 3.5? I don't care. Anytime Kansas City is getting points, I'm taking them. Yeah. I'm looking at Baltimore early in the week. Kyle, how about you quickly?
Yeah, I'm looking at Baltimore too. Kansas City coming off that tough game against the Chargers. You see what good defenses can do. This is going to be a great game. It's so tough to pick. You can make an argument for both sides on this game, but right now I like Baltimore.
All right, Pick 6 contest last week. I am sitting here, king of the hill, 5-1, feeling good, but you're only as good as the very next week. You can't look in the rearview mirror. Kyle went 4-2. We're profitable out here. Kelsey's going to come in and have some fun with this. Now, we're switching up Kelsey from Tuesday to Thursday because she is going to be going coast to coast, moving to Arizona, but we still wanted to have her on the show this week to make sure we heard what her Pick 6 would be, what she saw from the previous weekend. So let's bring in Kelsey Kramer, our newest superstar here at sportsbookreview.com. And Kelsey, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing good, but I had a better entrance than that.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah.
That's for us, Johnny. That's for us.
Oh,
beautiful.
0-2. I'm 0-2. You're 0-2. We're down in the dumps. And the one thing we can all rejoice on sometimes is, look at that. You're going to get the Atlanta Falcons to do me a favor since I'm down in the dumps to knock off the Cowboys. And I'm watching the football game, laughing. I'm loving it. Boy, it's going to be a nice Monday because at least my squad lost, but Dallas is going to lose. They get the win. And the worst part about it, Kelsey, in the Pick 6, I had the Dallas Cowboys at -4.5. Not only did they win, I didn't cover. Awfulness.
I took the over in that game, so at least I won something, but it was awful. It was definitely an embarrassment. So we'll see how long Dan Quinn stays in town.
It's the race. I
don't know how much longer he can. I mean, Dan Quinn might be doing the show with us by next week.
And how about the story of the day? Drew Brees demoted from stud muffin to scrub muffin. That did not take long. That's a short leash.
That was embarrassing. I had Saints going. I think we all did, right?
Oh yeah.
No,
Donnie had the way.
I was on the Death Star. I was
perfect.
riding that Death Star right here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I wish they threw it to Cook more. I think we all had that one too.
Yeah, that hurt.
No
hurt
doubt
a little
about
bit
it.
too.
By the way, I think you could probably throw the football, Kelsey, or farther than Drew Brees can at this. But hey, look, me and Drew Brees can look in the mirror. We're the same age, and I can barely get up the steps, and he's playing pro football, so something a little bit different here. But let's get to some pick six contest. Last week, Kelsey, 6 picks. Obviously, you had them. How did you do last week overall?
3-3. So it's a step up from week 1, but not where I want to be yet.
No building blocks. That's what we look. Hey, look, you come on. You're a little bit nervous week 1. You come on week 2. You're ready to go. You're 3-3. Now we need to expect a winning week in week. And now also, we're watching to get 2 for the Money was a movie out there. Al Pacino, gambling. Sure. Brandon Lang would pick the games like 3 weeks before. He was so good. So now we got you on a Tuesday. Your card's already ready for this weekend coming. Like you're just like, you know what? I don't have to worry about it. I'm going to take the weekend for myself and not even stress. It's that easy this week. So let's go over some of your first picks. Go over your first game that you're looking at this weekend, Kelsey.
All right, we're looking at the Dolphins and Jags. I'm taking the Jags.
There you go. So we're taking the Jags, and I can't fault because my credo in life in the NFL is do not take a road team on Thursday Night Football, and you are going by that credo. Jacksonville, we talked about it early in the show. I like Jacksonville in this game. We think there's going to be some points. Kyle, you like Jacksonville in this, don't you?
Yeah, I like Jacksonville. Minshew Mania. Maybe we'll elevate Gardner Minshew up to stud muffin status for this week.
Someone's got to take over. It's not Kyle yet.
It's not me.
Exactly.
We said it was Flash. I think we talked about early on. He's taking over the banner here at SBR for us. So there we go.
Yeah. A lot of good notes here out in the chat box for Kelsey here, but also Joseph Gomez says, Donnie, about to send Drew Brees some of that monster energy. He needs, take one before the game, take one at halftime. You'll be good to go, Drew, all ready to do it. But nobody loves stats more than Drew Brees, and it was evident at the end of that football game. So let's keep moving in the Pick Six contest. Now, I know after 2 weeks of watching the Atlanta Falcons, there's no way we're going to take the Atlanta Falcons in the Pick Six. You're fading them all the way, aren't you?
I said I wouldn't put my heart into it, but I think I'm putting my heart and head into this one. It's their week. I'm calling it their week. Even the article that I just wrote, it's for the Falcons. So week 3 is for them. They're back home, and the Bears. Their defense is good, and Falcons' offense might struggle with that. But I think their offense is definitely better than the Bears, and the Falcons' defense it's going to be easier for them this week to stop the Bears.
You know what, Kyle? Yeah. You know what I saw in this game, Kyle, which I thought was interesting? I saw a tweet come out today that said the Atlanta Falcons are going to start letting fans in October 11th. I got news for you. If Atlanta's like 0-5 October 11th, don't be surprised if they come out with a statement like, hey, it's just not safe for fans in here, because I think the fans would come there and put paper bags on their heads and try to get after Dan Quinn. So back on, I can't fault it because I am part of the club. I'm the old kid,
Eagles fan.
Yeah, I'm the ultimate hater in all sport. I don't care what color, what race, whoever you are. I love to hate on people, and I love to hate Mitchell Trubisky. So even if I might be trying to back Mitchell Trubisky, somebody fading him along with me feels really good. So I'm glad that you're on that same side. Let's keep moving down the list. Now, the team that stung me last week, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to sit down. I'm going to just get off the air on Sportsbook Review from our NFL show on Sunday. I'm going to watch my Philadelphia Eagles. The Rams came in here and just stole my heart and left town. What are we looking at this week between the Buffalo Bills and the Los Angeles Rams, Kelsey?
Taking the Rams on the East Coast again.
Okay.
McVay's been doing well on traveling in time zone to different time zone since 2017, and I had high hopes for the Bills, but after last week letting Miami get 28 on them, I don't know.
Well, it was a weird game in that game. Remember, they had the delay at the half with the lightning and
let's make excuses.
Typical Miami.
Yeah, it was a late backdoor nonsense, and that one really upset me. But any concerns about the Rams running back situation with Akers and Brown being banged up? Maybe they have to rely more on Darrell Henderson going to the East. You make a great point about McVay being terrific going from the West Coast to the East Coast. 2 weeks in a row to Buffalo. This is where our first disagreement of the show so far.
I'm looking forward to that game. I mean, it should be a really good game. And Sean McVay is hot. Yeah, Kelsey, and I brought up a point earlier. No crowd noise here. He's able to call the play into Jared Goff, make the adjustments at the line of scrimmage. Every single person on the Rams last week was wide open against the Philadelphia Eagles. So it was almost like they had a little bit of Patriots mojo going, like they knew exactly what was about to happen. Now, we saw a great football game on Sunday night between the New England Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks. Coming up now this weekend, you're seeing the Seattle Seahawks taking on the Dallas Cowboys. It should be an offensive show, but I know you have a side in this game. Which way are you looking, Kelsey?
I was leaning towards the Cowboys, but after, going over the Falcons game, like they weren't that good. They won in a senseless and a stupid play. But Seattle, I got Seattle. Their defense is fire. And
Russ.
Yeah.
I agree.
Russ is cooking out here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad coaching in
Northwest
Dallas.
Yeah,
Look what Mike McCarthy did. 2 punts, going for 2 punts in your own. I mean, Mike McCarthy is the worst head coach that has ever graced the sideline, and it annoys me that he's got a ring. But I just can't see them beating that Seattle Seahawks team in Seattle, so I completely agree. I like Seattle.
No.
Yeah, you're right about Mike McCarthy, too. When you look at that, he goes for 2 when you didn't need to go. The whole key to the NFL is extending the game to always give you a chance to win. He goes for 2, they're down 9. I'm like, yeah, that's so Cowboys. They're not going to win this game. And we all saw how ridiculous it was at the end of that football game. Now, also, we saw a game last night, Drew Brees struggling, but we know how good Drew Brees is in prime time down in the Dome. But again, no fans are going to be in the Dome in this one. Great game on Sunday Night Football here, Kelsey. Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers, RELAX, coming to town. Are you taking Aaron Rodgers in the discount double check, or are you going with the stud?
I'm going with a scrub.
Scrub
muffin.
Scrub muffin.
I know. This game makes me really nervous, though. I might change my mind come game day, but right now, I can't get away from Breeze. And if Mike Thomas is in the game, it's definitely gonna make it more fun for them. But Aaron Jones went off last week. Thank goodness for my fantasy team. But yeah, so Saints. And I think they have what it takes to stop Jones, and the Lions didn't. So,
yeah, and the Saints at home. Drew Brees at home. I'm big on I've made plenty of money throughout my longer life than it's than I look, hopefully. But Drew Brees at home, you make money betting Drew Brees at home. He's just so much better at home. It's weird, and I know there's no fans. We even saw it week 1 against Tampa Bay, right? Great week 1 in Tampa Bay. Goes on the road, looks like crap, bounces back against a bad Green Bay defense at home.
You know what I want to see in this game, too, because I thought one of the more funnier things in NFL history, I believe when he broke the touchdown passing record, they gave him like a piece of paper and somebody just scribbled like a 350 on it for like whatever his touchdown pass was and gave it to him, and he held it up. So we'll see if that goes on. But again, no fans are going to be down in the Dome. We know how well he does play at home. And Kelsey brings up a great point. That offense is completely different when Michael Thomas, who you can triple team, and somehow he's still wide open, doesn't play in a football game. You saw as that went over from the first quarter, which they dominated, to the second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter. They just didn't have that guy at wide receiver, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8. You can get the football to. Alvin Kamara was outstanding, and he's going to be back on turf, so it'll be interesting to watch that football game play out. Last game we're going to talk about here, and why not? One of the better games of the week, maybe the game of the year on Monday Night Football, which we will be here live for Monday Night Football right here on sportsbook.com on the live betting show. That's Patrick Mahomes, and that is Baltimore's Lamar Jackson. Are we looking at a side in this game? Are we looking at points in this game, Kelsey? Where are we going on your pick 6 selection here?
I definitely, I want these guys to have fun. I'm going with the over 53. The Ravens are looking, I think they're going to win, but they're definitely the better team right now. And Mahomes struggled last week. But this is going to be an exciting game. Definitely, I think it's going to be the most, we'll see. I think it's going to be the most exciting. But obviously,
absolutely.
Football's been surprising.
Absolutely. And the Chargers historically give Patrick Mahomes trouble. That secondary is very, very good in LA. You know, it's another good secondary in Baltimore, but I think that's the smart play is to bet the totals on this one because these are 2 great teams that could go either way. It's so weird to see a plus number next to Kansas City. It's so weird to see it, even though they're on the road. But I like the over 53 as well.
And Patrick
Look,
Queen.
Patrick Mahomes and Patrick McQueen are not going to be at. The one thing that Maryland does really well is crab cakes in football. If you can find that reference from a movie, that is extra bonus points here at sportsbookreview.com. But with interesting pick six weekend that's going to be on the head, I don't really make my picks till Wednesday or Thursday. Had a really good week last week. Kyle had a good week. And look, we were winning 5-1, 4-2, 3-3. Isn't that what you tune in for? You tune in for the information because we're a team. Like I could say, look, I'm 5-1. I'm going to leave these guys back in the dust. But don't you worry. There'll be one week I'm going to go 1-5 and be like, guys, you saved me. It was so awesome. And you're going to go,
he's doing it behind the scenes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Behind the scenes, I'm like, look, I can't be with these two on air because I'm 5-1. I need to shine. I need a bigger. See how we're all equal on the screen right here? I need the bigger shot. You guys can have the two smaller spots. I just kid, joke around. But by the way, there you go. By the way, on Thursday, we understand that you're moving to Arizona. Is that correct?
Yeah, gonna be a big Cards fan. Huh?
There we go.
Love Kyler Murray this year. He's my fantasy quarterback, and he's winning me games 2-0 so far. Hope you have a safe trip. We all wish you here the best here, and then we'll see you next week on Thursday, so that'll be cool. And so have a nice, safe trip. And I like the picks this week. I think you're going to have a good week this week.
Let's pray for that.
No, we are ready to go. Look, as long as you guys don't beat me, it's going to be all good. But thank you. Look at that. How fast does 1 hour go right here talking football on a Tuesday? Well over 200 people watching live throughout the entire show. We do thank you for that. 34 thumbs up. You guys brought the fire in the chat box. This is the reason why we do the show. Keep in mind, we'll be back on Thursday to really sharpen our skills and try to really look at this card from a good angle. And then also Sunday when we go to the opening kickoff show and get you read up 12 o'clock right to 1 p.m. And we're going to get you ready. It's football season, as we say, right here at sportsbookreview.com. I'm Donnie Seymour. She's Kelsey Kramer. He's Kyle Purviance. We're sportsbookreview.com. And this was your Tuesday NFL football show.